Landowners in the southeastern part of Oklahoma are probably familiar with how to manage a forest stand, whether it's for timber production or for wildlife values. But in the rest of the state, such as the cross timber zone around Oklahoma City and Tulsa and all through central Oklahoma, forest management isn't talked about as much. And this is unfortunate if you're interested in wildlife, because there's a lot of things you could do kind of borrowing from forest management that you could do on these sites that would still benefit wildlife. We generally call these timber stand improvements, and they can include things like prescribed fire, girdling trees, clipping trees. You can use herbicide. Basically, the premise is we're trying to manipulate the forest structure and composition to meet some objective. So from a whitetail deer perspective, an unmanaged cross timbers can eventually become fairly unproductive. You'll have eastern red cedar come in and start to dominate the site and replace the oak, which is primarily going to be post oak and blackjack in cross timbers. You'll also have an absence of herbaceous plants, those broadleaf plants and vines that are so important for whitetail, and also an absence of browse, shrubs and young regenerating trees that deer forage on at certain times of the year. So if you're going to go into a cross timber stand and try to manage it for whitetail, think about sunlight. How much sunlight do you have reaching the ground and that is causing this regeneration of a new forest, and also where you're getting herbaceous plants like this croton that I'm standing in. On this site, what we basically have done is we've went in and clipped the cedar, the juniper. We've killed the juniper, and we've also selectively killed some oak with herbicide. We wanted to create forest gaps, essentially, so that we can get this kind of herbaceous response, and also to create browse, plants that are within the reach of deer, because while the oak mast is really important in the fall, most of the year deer are feeding on broadleaf plants and vines and shrubs and other types of browse. So think about that when you're managing your cross timbers, is to create that diversity for whitetail or whatever species of interest you might have.